Deep breath, everybody. Let me catch mine. It's good to see everyone. I was looking at you. It was May of 1977, and my first day in my new Florida school. I was 14 years old and had all the different anxieties a 14-year-old would have coming to a new school for the first day. Meeting new people, worried about fitting in. Will any girls like me? Going through all the things a normal teenager would go through. Being my first day, I had no idea what my schedule would be. And of course, I had PE, or gym class. So I was one of the kids who did not dress out, as they called it. And I sat in the bleachers while the class played dodgeball or some other activity that kept the teacher occupied. Now, backtracking for a minute. As a little kid, I believed the lesson of turn the other cheek. And I thought it meant to let them hit me. And so I did. Because I knew fighting was bad, and I knew they didn't understand Jesus like I did. But I was a little kid, and I grew up, like many of us grew up, misunderstanding some of the lessons. So I had a lifetime of being picked on and letting them get away with it. I didn't want or like to fight. It wasn't in me. It wasn't who I was. But at the school I had just left in Salem, Ohio, I had gotten in my first fight ever, finally defending myself after a lifetime of being mocked and picked on, and I got suspended.
First time.
In that school, they had a rule that whether you engaged or not, if you were the first, it didn't matter. If you were fighting, you got suspended too. So needless to say, my father was pissed, and I already had issues there, so I didn't want to get in trouble again. So now back to gym class. Some kid starts randomly walking down the line of the top bleachers and pushing other kids' heads into the wall. And then next he comes up to the kid beside me, does it to him, and starts to do it to me. And I jump up like I'm going to engage him, pushing him off. And he gives me that, what are you going to do about it, with the flinching, like, what? Attitude. You know, we've all been teenagers. You know the body language. Well, I bit my lip, thinking my dad's going to kill me if I get in trouble, and he can hit a lot harder than this kid can, and I know it. So, let me just sit down. I sit back down, I'm trembling inside, I'm flustered, and I really want to hit this kid. I'm telling the kid beside me, no one's name do I know. That's why you keep hearing kid, because to this day I know no one's name. I'm telling him how I just got in trouble in my old school, and how my dad will pummel me if I get into another fight. And as I continue on, this other guy sitting a couple rows down just stands up. Hears me talking. He calmly gets up and walks over to what I'll call the punk kid. And he pushes his head and says, "How you like it?" And then the fight commences with some choice words that are edited for prime time. So the dramatic fight ensues. Chaos. People tumbling down the bleachers, kids all over the place, resulting in all of us going to the dean's office. A really great first day. When all was said and done, they both got suspended. I never threw a punch, so I wasn't in trouble. But I asked the kid why he stepped in. He said, "I hate jerks like that." Again, edited. And I just like to fight. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm coming from a place of backtracking again. The fight in Salem, Ohio, I beat the crap out of the kid and I was the one crying. Because I didn't like fighting. It hurt my feelings to hit him, if that makes sense. It wasn't in my heart to beat someone up. I truly believe whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. So if I felt like if I was hitting you, I was hitting Jesus, and that was not an option in my body. So I said, I don't understand. What do you mean you like to fight? He said, yeah, sometimes I'm not even mad. I just like the fight itself. And that was where I met my very first tin soldier. Now, I'm not talking to any veterans in this room. I'm not talking to anyone who's defended their life or someone else's. Unless somewhere along the line, you started to get into the fight itself. Then I am talking to you. Because that's what the disease of it is. You're wrong, I'm right. That's been the start of all my fights. How about you? How have yours started? What dialogue has preceded the fights you've had with friends, acquaintances, co-workers, bosses, people that, if you're in a position of, you have people maybe subordinate to you, or people in a position of authority over you. See, I don't like the superior, inferior word, because none of that applies. There's not a human being here superior or inferior to each other, by the way. But we always fight because we think we are justified to fight. We are right or righteous. That's what it means. Self-righteous is usually what ends up happening. We have a lifetime of it. We are programmed from the start about being right and wrong. Somewhere in us, our tin soldier was born to protect us, though. You see, it thinks if we're wrong, we're going to die. And it's a lizard brain type reaction. And it's just not true. We can be wrong and not die. Matter of fact, I am wrong all the time. Still living, still breathing. I'm still alive. You know, Scott and I lead our workshop, and the mentor Art Sellers, who taught us the work, used to always say, and I've regurgitated this: make 7 mistakes a day. Make 7 mistakes a day. Don't worry about. It's not about your blunders. It's about your wonders. And I've said this up here. It's a friendly reminder to allow ourselves to make mistakes and to know that it's okay. We're human. But what we do in this right or wrong thing is we want to fight with each other. Now, unless it's about the berry you're about to pick, right or wrong isn't going to make you die. But we don't live in that world anymore. We don't live in the forest anymore. We have the scientists and all the different technology and all the different people that have picked the wrong berries before letting us know which berry to pick. So that fight or flight mechanism inside of us, that if I'm wrong I will die scenario that makes me want to fight, is irrelevant. It is erroneous. It is something that we have to put to rest. Not kill it. Let it sleep. Let it sit down. There's no more killing. Okay? That's what the fighting is all about in the first place. But our tin soldier thinks it's his job to fight anything and everything, and is taking control of our lives absolutely. 100% absolutely. The fight within ourselves, half the time, to just get up in the morning. There's all kinds of fighting that we do internally that we have to recognize. Arguing with people, fighting over crap that doesn't even matter most of the time, then leaving a bloody mess behind us in the aftermath. And we've done that. Think about all the arguments that you've had. Robin Segura taught me a term. She calls it shooting salad, and I like it. Because it's usually what happens when people are so pissed that they don't even realize what's coming out of their mouth. It's just shooting salad, and you never know what's coming. Is it an onion? Is it lettuce? Is it a tomato? What's coming next? Who knows? I don't know. And I've been guilty of it. In my Italianness, the one that comes out first is, I'm going to knock you out. I've never hit another person in my life, say, as a teenager with the fighting. And I have to be aware of that. It's like, who in me wants to say that? Is that my tin soldier? Is he coming out here going, hey, you make me wrong, I'm going to knock you out? Is that his dialogue that he's been taught? Because it's not who I am. It's not what I believe. It's not what I want to lead this world up. It's not how I want my ministry in the world to look like. The knock you out ministry. That's not really how I intended for it to come out. But sometimes when I get so flustered, so angry, boom, it comes out. I throw it up. It just comes out. So you got to be aware of the dialogue within you and how much somebody inside us wants to fight. Where am I? I'm over here. And I've said this to you before in a different way, but this is the biggest weapon. Our tongues have caused more wars, more grief, more chaos than anything. More wars have been declared over what's been said than always what's been done. The whole they are wrong, we are right on the grandest of scales. But in wars, we use real bombs. Bombs that actually cause fire, blow up property, things like that. And it's sad and it's scary and it's yucky. But in life, we use guilt bombs. We launch them, locked and loaded. Our tin soldier has an arsenal of guilt bombs, how could yous, you should haves, and more. And we use them all the time. Like I said, I gave you a little hint as to what one of mine was. And I've been aware of that when I get so hot-headed. I usually recant it within a nanosecond because I know it's not me. But think about the ones that aren't as over the top as that. Because that's an in-your-face one. That's one that's going to make you stop and go, hey, that's not very nice or spiritual. But what about those subtle ones that we do each other all the time? Real quiet, well, you know. You could have told me. It's landed. That landed. Guilt bombs land heavier than any other bomb out there. And we do it to each other all the time. Actually, I'm a professional at this. I am Italian and Catholic. I had double lessons in guilt. But I'm recovering, so I'm okay now. I'm not recovering from being Italian. That one I have to still do. So I have to be aware that in my genetic, there's a chromosome for guilt. So I have to be aware of that and just deal with it so that I don't deliver it to people. Unless I'm joking. Because I'm real good at joking, ask Scott. But he's always making me late places, so it's okay to throw guilt bombs at him. And when we do it sarcastically and playfully, it could be our way of just trying to tell someone that they just stepped on our toes, crossed the boundary, hurt our feelings. And that is acceptable to an extent, because what we're really afraid of is to just say the truth. The truth is, ouch, you just hurt my feelings. Ouch, I just got invalidated by something you said. Hey, you're talking untruth about me and it's pissing me off. You're allowed to say what is going on in you without a fight. You know, I've been talking a lot lately to people about what this pivoting and positive aspect and the create your own reality aspect means. And when they say I don't like the airy-fairy part of just think positively, and I'm like, that's not what it means. Switching to something positive means switching to the truth. That is what's positive. The truth. And in the truth, you'll always create the reality you want. But again, we've been programmed for this. We've been socially programmed for it. With things like a war on this, a war on that. We have a war on drugs. We have a war on pick something. Pick a subject. We have a war on. We have a war on war. We have things like fight the good fight. You'll even see that crap in the Bible. There's a lot of crap in the Bible, but that's my opinion. Fight the feelings. Just fight the feeling. You can do it, just fight it. See where that's led us. And my personal favorite, join us in our fight against, and fill in the blank. Why are we always fighting? Can we heal things? Can we join us in our love to heal cancer? Can we be joined in our love to heal children's diabetes? And quit fighting it, because all we're doing is engaging a fight. And who's the victim here? We all end up being the victim. That's my next line. We all become a victim in one way or another. So it's like, when we're doing that kind of fighting, we gotta realize, hey man, who's the one picking up the sword? I've personally been going through a couple different things with only 2 human beings in my life, and they're both my brothers. One's my brother from my mother. One's my brother from another mother. One of them I worked for. I just walked away from my job Thursday. Thank you. Period. See, that's what broke me out in a sweat just now. Because, yeah, it rattles my cage. But I gotta practice what I preach, I gotta be who I am. And what was happening with these two people is they kept violating everything about me. They kept violating every single boundary. They kept disrespecting every iota of my life. Now, here's the funny thing. I still believe this is a 100% create your own reality universe. So I'm willing to look inside and go, Mark, what is up here? What are you creating? What's going on? What are you thinking about you that this has happened? But also, it's the last two humans in my life that have been trying to control, abuse, or do anything to me. And sometimes it's just about stopping. My dad taught me how to play chess when I was a little kid. And he said there's 3 basic moves: attack, block, and get out of the way. Well, life is like that. But if you know me at all, you know I'm not really one to attack. That's not in my nature. I'm not going to just attack people. Blocking sucks the life out of you. How long can you hold a shield up? How long can you just hold this stand up? Just hold the stand right there. Anybody, come up here, hold it here for 5 minutes and tell me when you become fatigued. And this is nothing compared to the armor, to the shields, to the crap that we're holding up constantly when we're blocking somebody from either crossing our boundaries, telling us we're no good, invalidating us, just being crappy to us, disrespecting us, whatever it is. Still your drill inside to go look at, but you are allowed to stop the pain, which leads me to the next chess move. Get out of the way. So I left. But I went back Friday and made up with my friend and said I'm not willing to lose my friend because I can't agree with your philosophies at work. And we made up. My brother and I are in a different place, and I'm willing to come back around and have him in my life. But I am unwilling to be abused. I'm not going to tell you terrible things about my brother. He's a great guy. I love him. He's my brother. But I had to stop the pain. I had to be willing to stop letting a human being cross my boundaries for whatever their pain is. Doesn't matter. I kept understanding everybody else's pain in my life and let them smack me in the face. So sometimes getting out of the way is the answer. Maybe that turn the other cheek lesson was simply walk away and let them see you leaving. I think that's how I'm going to choose to interpret that lesson for myself from now on. Because as a little kid, I really had one really red cheek. And now my face doesn't hurt anymore. It may be killing you. If we're going to talk about little kids, we have to have little kid jokes. And that was spontaneous. I didn't even write that. But again, it's still my movie. It's 100% my creation. I'm going to still do the work on the inside to understand how I am creating people to treat me the way they're treating me. You know, I don't treat people that way. So you would think just by virtue of default, then I would be treated exactly how I treat people. But it doesn't always work that way because I have a mindset and I'm a human being and I have probably 1 billion thoughts a day. I don't know if science has ever actually counted how many thoughts we have, but it's billions. And you think there's not one in there, just one, that says, Mark, I don't believe in you, from me? Well, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. I had so much chaos writing this because this happened Thursday and I've had this talk prepared by notes all over my desk, but I hadn't had it written. So I go to type it on the computer and the computer dies, the printer. I said, as long as the printer don't die on me, I'll be okay, and it did. And I'm like, well, it's probably just a cartridge. No. Whole new printer. Then I'm like, well, let's load it and get it up and running. No, the disk drive died on me too.
Oh no.
What the? If I can manifest this damn quickly, like, damn it, I hate when $1 million comes into my life. Because that's how quickly I manifest things when I'm really thinking, man, I hope this doesn't happen. Boy, it comes quickly. Thank goodness there's a little bit of a buffer zone, and this was just a little one, because the universe isn't going to give us every negative thought we've ever had in the nanosecond we think it. But obviously I had a little bit of anxiety going on about being prepared. It's kind of like the same thing in me that doesn't like to be late. It's that same issue. Scott, by the way, gotta bust his chops. That wasn't a guilt bomb, that was just direct guilt sent right to him. Again, if you do it lovingly and with joy, it's okay. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Even though it's an inside job, and I understand that I'm creating this, sometimes we do have to stop the madness. And that is part of the walking away from an abusive situation. Sometimes our tin soldier will fight when we are trying to do some of that deeper inner work. And we'll take it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm done. We'll take a moment or two to go inside and do that deeper work and realize that there's somebody inside us trying to fight this work. That's the same tin soldier, because we can't show up vulnerable either. Of course, tin soldiers don't cry. Warriors do, though. Warriors know how to grieve. Warriors honor their enemies. Warriors honor the kill they just killed to feed their family. They sit there and they pray, they thank, they cry, they grieve. They're real people. Men and women are warriors. There's no gender to a warrior, and they all know how to grieve. And breathe that in, everyone, because this society has just taught us way, way too much that people don't cry when they're strong, and that's bull crap. There may be a time in our life we need to exercise restraint or patience, or even to breathe and to calm yourself, but never a time to fight yourself. You know, we like to keep each other's tin soldiers alive and well too. We constantly bring gossip to each other. It takes both your enemy and your friend working together to hurt you to the heart. The one to slander you, and the other to bring you the news. That was a quote by either think Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens. I always get those guys mixed up. But I remember from a long time ago. What? That was good, because that was an experiment. Because really, I thought Becky was going to be the one to correct me, because I know how her mind works. Crying. But I wanted to acknowledge, I wanted you to feel, like, how many people just had the urge to correct me? Did you feel it? I just want you to acknowledge the feeling in your body that somebody inside you came up inside and had the urge, and you were fighting an urge to blurt out, not really, buddy, they're the same people. But I know everybody knew that because I'm within a bunch of intelligent people. But we do constantly keep our and other tin soldiers engaged, even when we're just complaining about life and each other. Sue did a whole talk about complaining. And it's true. If I come up to you and agree with you of how sucky your world is, and how all the people in it suck too, I'm just keeping your tin soldier alive and well. It's like training days. Like, yeah, let's go get him. But the thing, you know, I was trying to find a tin soldier as a prop. I'm going to tell you something. You cannot find one of these things anywhere in Brevard County. But anyway, because I wanted to do this. I wanted you to hear the tinness of it. Because that's why it's a tin soldier. Because there's nothing inside. There's no passion. There's no heart for the fight. See, sometimes in our life, we truly have had to fight for a cause. True fighting. We put up our dukes. We had to protect something. But I'm telling you that without a doubt in my body, that the true warrior had heart and passion in that fight. And that's why there was no tin soldier there. Because that person, man or woman, was fighting for what they believed in. They were fighting to protect people, There's a big, big, big difference, and there will be no hollow sound within that human, because that human's heart is enormous. That human does know how to grieve. That human does know the sanctity of all life. That is what a warrior is about. So there's a difference between the tinniness of that fake fight and the wonder of someone's heart filled with passion. Now they may learn in their lives to re-surrender. One of the things we do when we complain and continue to engage each other's tin soldiers is we feel like crap. Just plain and simple. But we also walk further away from our grace, our divinity, and our true selves. It's the very treasure that we guard so much. It's our own peaceful hearts. That's the very treasure that we're having. So how do we stop the madness? What do we do to stop the craziness? Anybody have an idea?
Get out of here.
Surrender. That's where this comes in, folks. This is an old t-shirt. But it's a white flag. Right? This is it. This is the surrender. This little cloth has saved countless lives. Because they saw how many men or women just got slaughtered, and they finally said, no more, no more. Stop the madness. No more of our men and women are dying. No more mothers and fathers are going home today. But metaphorically, this little cloth has also saved countless relationships. Because in relationships, sometimes we just need to surrender to each other and surrender to the truth of what's going on. Now, you don't have to. You cannot surrender at all. You can bottle this up, bottle it up, keep your hate inside, keep it all together for yourself, for your entire life. Your choice. You can stroke out too, or have a heart attack, or create some rare blood disease. It doesn't matter. There's no judgment with what you create. The universe has got plenty of diseases to hand you to teach you how to come back to your true self. And remember something, you're not surrendering to me. You could be mad at me. We could be the ones in an argument. You are not surrendering to me. You're not surrendering to them. You're surrendering to yourself. You're surrendering to God. You're surrendering to grace itself. Just breathe for a minute, folks. It's like, because this is what, maybe I'm the one who needs to breathe that in, and I'll own that. Because that is all I'm here for, is to surrender to grace and have it walk with me. You see, we always want to change the world first. We want the world to be the one that does it. We pray things like, I wish everyone would get along, that people would be good to each other, that they would remember God and act accordingly. Wouldn't it be awesome if each day we started with the prayers, oh God, Spirit, grant that today I get along with everyone I meet, and that I am nice to them, and that I am free of all judgments, and that I surrender to love today and every day. If you've been paying attention to Sue's Buddhist Living series, you'll see a practice of that mindset throughout the philosophy. You want to know another reason why surrendering is awesome? Because God or the universe does not care who you've been. Has no concerns with you, who you have been in your life. Only who you are in this precious moment. In this very, very moment is all Spirit wants to know. Everything else is done. It doesn't matter. It's over. Redemption is now. Always right now. Sometimes it's as simple as just looking in the next person's eyes and saying, I fell, but I'm getting back up. I mistook, but now I understand. When you stand in love in this moment, you become empowered. Love will actually make you strong. Think of how you felt in all times of love. Infatuation, even to deep committed love. I don't even care if it's the love of a puppy or a kitten or a butterfly or a rainbow. In the moment you were feeling love, how did you feel energy-wise? I bet you were energetic. I bet you had power in your body. I bet you had the stamina to go do whatever projects you wanted to do. Now look at how you felt while hating, complaining, or deploring something. Think of how you felt if you were in an argument with someone and your thoughts were still hateful and ugly. You're just regurgitating it. Now, I'm not talking about that in the moment, I got really amped up in anger. Sometimes that could be empowering. I'm talking about your thoughts, how they are constantly sitting there going, you know, that person, oh, they just did this and this and this, and watch how it drains you. That's how it's landed in my body in those moments of my life. So again, surrender. Okay, Lord, I've surrendered. I get it. But how do I get grace back in my life? Well, first you have to earn its presence. Earn it. What are you talking about? You said I was God, Mark. You are. You must meet the vibration of your God self on its level. You must raise your vibration. Guys, it's me here. You know I'm always going to talk about vibration. That's all there is. There's a whole lifetime of discovering what we're doing with our vibration, how to raise our vibration, but it's all about vibration. What frequency are you on? That's what aspect of God or the universe that you're going to experience. There's no judgment either. You can watch whatever show you want. The cable company has 50 bazillion channels now. The universe has even more. Tune into whatever one you want. Just understand that your God self lives on a certain frequency. It lives on a certain channel. If you want to watch that show, you have to earn its presence. You have to be on that channel. No judgment. There's no one going to ever come down to you from the universe and say, you're watching the wrong channel. But you might feel like crap along the way. Some of these channels actually make you feel good. If it's hate and fighting, well, understand that grace and spirit hang on a different plane. So don't get your feelings hurt if you can't feel the presence of God when all you're doing is spewing out venom in your life. Understand that one. And it's not, again, to beat anybody up. But if I'm just sitting here going, they're bad, they're wrong, they suck. Fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. What race is here? Do you think I'm going to feel good? Pretty soon I'm going to start feeling really bad, and pretty soon you're going to see me with some weird disease. I guarantee it, man, but that's how I believe, 100%. Okay, I hear you. Okay, so I've raised my vibration. I've learned to earn or meet God's presence. Well, then now what? Well, now you've achieved this, now you have to recognize the presence of God within you. You have to know it, you have to feel it, and you have to let it empower you. And that's a hard one sometimes. Well, how will I recognize it? Well, there's many ways to recognize the grace of God within you, the serenity of wisdom. You probably will smile more often. That's one of the signs. Your forehead will become more serene. Might have a pimple right on it, but that doesn't matter. Spontaneous giggles may occur at any given moment. A very childlike view of things may start to happen as well. Sun rays seem to be just a little brighter, and you might start noticing some birds have been singing in your backyard all along, and all of a sudden, it just sounded sweeter. And also, and this is a big one, you'll start really being happy for other people when things go well in their life. You'll truly start feeling connected to everything around you. That's a way to recognize that the presence of grace is within you. When you can look at someone's joy and feel it as if it happened to you, man, that's awesome. I've had moments of that, and I love those moments. I've walked by a couple before and just felt the joy of them, the joy of their life, the joy of them being them. It was great, it was neat. I had no idea who they were. You just feel so neat, you feel so good. I was happy just walking by them. But I was truly happy for them. And I didn't have everything I wanted in my life in the moment. It's not about that. That's how you recognize it. But you're not done yet. Now your last stage of bringing grace back into your life and surrendering your tin soldier forever. You have to act on it. Remember Sue's talk last week, action, or action, concerning all aspects of creation. One of the most primary elements is action. This is the where God meets you halfway scenario. God helps those who help themselves. This is where faith without works comes in. This is action. We have to keep walking our talk and being willing to stand in the wonder of our creation, all in that wonderful equanimity. That's a wonderful word, isn't it? It's like something that Sue brought back into my reality because I've studied a lot of Buddhism, and I don't want any religion, so I just keep walking. But Buddhism, the thing I like about it, it's not really a religion, it's a practice. It's a walk. It's how to walk and feel cool while you're walking. And guess what? Again, there's no goal. There's no one saying, yeah, and at the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold. No, it might be a pot of shit. We don't know, but how do you feel about it? How was the journey? Did you understand yourself along the way? Did you wish total wonder and free from suffering for all the people that might have led themselves to the same pot of crap? It doesn't matter. It's about the journey. So now you've raised your vibration to meet your God self. You've recognized this grace and divinity within you. You've tasted of its sweet flavor, bathed and basked in the serenity of its beauty, and now from this place you can choose more clearly and share that treasure of peace within your heart and say, you're right, I'm wrong, but right here in my heart is where you belong. Or you can choose to go ahead and hate your neighbor. Go ahead, cheat a friend. Do it in the name of heaven. So you can justify it in the end. Ain't gonna be no trumpets blowing come your personal judgment day. But on that bloody morning after, is it gonna be your tin soldier riding away? Thank you, folks. On the top.